determines how far the organization can go. And we've already said over and over again that everything rises and falls on leadership. You can go into an organization and it's thriving and doing amazingly well, and then you change leadership and it begins to go down. And you're like, well, everything was going on fine. What's happening? Leadership. You can go into a place and everything is sluggish, there's turnover is bad, culture is bad, everywhere is toxic, and then you bring in somebody else and everything just changes and begins to grow. And you're like, wow, we thought nothing good will come out of this place. Leadership. So everything rises and falls on leadership, and that's why the focus will be on you as the leader, understanding what your job will be. And I've come to realize that in business, there are two dimensions. There's what we call the technical skills or the technical side of business. And then there's the business skill or the business side of business. So for instance, you can be a caterer, you're an amazing cook, you're an amazing chef, and then you now decide that, look, I want to open a restaurant. Now the fact that you're an amazing cook and amazing chef does not mean you can run a restaurant business successfully. Why? Because once you start a business around that skill, around that gift, then you need another set of skills that is called business skill to be able to then run the business. The fact that you can cook does not mean you can get customers. The fact that you can cook does not mean you know how to price the food. The fact that you can cook does not mean you know how to manage crisis. So we need to understand that those are dimensions that are part of what we need to keep learning. That's why no matter who you are, you have to keep learning and learning and learning and learning and learning as you grow. The day you stop learning, you start dying. So I've identified, this is from a model in the School of Money book, so I just want to deal with that so you can get the book. And then, so I've identified what I consider to be the 8 jobs of a business leader. What are the 8 job descriptions that are exclusively yours or primarily yours? That's what we want to look into. So number 1, your first job as a business leader will be to clearly define the vision, the mission, and the goal of your business organization. To clearly define the vision, the mission, and the goal. Because when you start a business, it begins from the inside of you. So when you make up your mind and say, no, I think I need to open a center, you are the one envisioning it. If you are employing someone to come and join you, they don't know what you saw. They are not the visionary, you are the visionary. So your job is to clearly define that vision, define that mission, define that goal, and then effectively communicate it to them. That's the first assignment. So most of the time, we have people come join us in our organization and they are not performing, and they were blaming them. And I said, look, if you don't train them, you can't blame them. You can't blame them for what they don't know. Don't blame people for something you have not taught them. And that's why one of the things you need to learn to do as a leader is to realize that there is nothing that is too small to train about. Even when it comes to writing letters, answering phone calls, responding to, just develop it into a curriculum, develop it into whatever you identify, even as a pastor. Whenever you identify something going wrong, teach about it. Don't just assume that people know. If people are coming late to church, then teach about the power of promptness. Teach about the importance of promptness, the importance of coming, just turn it into, if people are always fighting each other, teach about the importance of peace. So whatever you identify as a problem, it's not just enough to make it a prayer point, make it a training point. So that people can then be equipped. Because most of the time, especially for some of us that have been exposed to all kinds of wisdom and knowledge through different platforms, we unconsciously think that everybody is intelligent. We unconsciously think that everybody is wise. Common sense is not common. Not everybody has it. So you see that, you should know that. How should they know? How? They don't know, they don't know. Because for many people, you'll be amazed that they don't have good home training. Their parents don't know better, so they didn't want to teach them. They don't have the right friends. They're not growing in the right environment. So the only place they then come to learn is either the church or the office. So for us as business people, I tell my wife, I say, let us see these people beyond just our staff. Let us see them as our sons and daughters that we're training. Even if they have to go through this organization for 6 months, let it be on record that within these 6 months that they work with us or work for us, that something shifted in their life, that they knew things they didn't know, the lenses they didn't know before they came. So that by the time they go, it will be evident that there is a season of their life where somebody impacted them. And for us in our country, in Nigeria, one of the major challenges we have is we have this huge turnover. I don't know if you guys have the same issue here, but people come to work for you, you expect that they'll be there for 3 to 4, 5 years, and in 6 to 8 months or 1 year, 2 years, they're gone. And then everything you have taught them, they go with it. You have to teach another set of people. So you have this continuous cycle of turnover. And then people are, I'm not going to teach everybody. You will just teach them, and they will say, keep teaching them. Because if we keep teaching them, what we are doing is we are increasing the quality of the workforce of the nation. Because wherever they, so let's see it as a ministry. Wherever they go, they will know that, okay, this person is better. Where they are coming from has taught them something. And then 2 wrongs does not make it right. That people are wrong does not mean you should change to become like them. Then at the end of the day, if you are not part of the solution, you are indirectly part of the problem. So number 1 is communication. Your job is to do what's the vision, what's the mission, what's the goal, and then you effectively communicate it. And now that communication has to be done consistently. So it's not something you do once and think that they remember. No, you keep reminding them, and that's why there are different meetings that takes place. There's the power of meetings. That's another thing. Meetings are very important. Weekly meetings, strategy session, periodic training. Every time you keep reminding them, you keep reminding them, you keep reminding them. Number 2, your second assignment is to put together a winning team. To put together a winning team. So when you start out alone, you start out with a vision, but you cannot do life alone. You can't do everything by yourself. Life is a team sport. But guess what? You need to put a team together. Now, when it comes to putting together a winning team, there are internal teams and there are external things. You have a team of people that will work with you, but they don't have to be in the employment as your staff that resumes every day. So you have to identify those teams. So in the book, School of Money, I identify about 15 different set of people that you will need to be a part of your team. So part of your external team, number 1 is a lawyer. You need a legal person. You don't need to employ a lawyer. So for some of us now, because business is, so we have an entire legal team, legal department that are full-time, because it's a big company, group of company. So there's a realm you will get where you need your internal lawyer. There's a realm you get where you need internal audits and all this stuff. But for now, if you're starting out, you need to have a lawyer, you need to have auditors and financial tax consultants and people, but they don't have to be working on their businesses of their own, but you outsource to them, and that's part of your team. So when you have legal issues, you know what to call. When you have issues to sort out your taxes, your books are in order, you have what to call. So you have teams of people that are outside of that. So tax consultant, legal people, you need a mentor. You need people that will mentor, you need people that have achieved what you intend to achieve in your field. So the fact that you're a Christian and you have a pastor does not mean your pastor knows everything. I'm a pastor, but I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a pastor, I'm not a lawyer. So if you as a member of my church need legal advice and you come to me, you are fooling yourself. Because I'm not a lawyer. So the best I can do for you is to pray or recommend a lawyer to you. But people don't understand that because there's a way religion messes up the mind of people. And then they say, all you need is the word of God. All you need is God. All you need is God, but God needs people. And God will use people. So you need people. So you need to identify those team of people that are external, that are important. Sometimes you need a nutritionist, you need a medical person, you need a spiritual man. So all this you need, then that's external. Then internally, you also then need to identify who are the people that I need in this business. So you start out as the only person, but you don't stay as the only person. When you start out, you are the cleaner, you are the secretary, you are the marketer, you are the accountant, you are everything. But you can't build a global business that way. You can't. You need to realize that if that business is going to grow, then it begins from the inside of you. Because there's what we call the law of the lead, which means that as a leader, the more you grow, the more the businesses grow. But if you are not growing, the business cannot grow beyond you. So if you are afraid, oh, how do I employ people? How am I going to be able to pay them? What if I employ them? Where will I get the money to pay their salary? No, you can't build a business with that kind of mindset. Because you have worked in different places before, and the places you worked in, somebody started that business at a point in time. But the business grew to a level where they could employ you. Yours will also grow. So you need to have that growth mindset. You need to have that possibility mindset, and you need to see because it's on the inside. So once you see it, then you walk towards it, and then it becomes a reality. So questions that people then ask at this season are: how do I know when to employ people? How do I know who to employ and for what? And how do I pay them? So let's take it one after the other. How do I know when to employ people? Now, when you start out in business and you've been able to get to a point where you realize that there are things that require your attention, but you don't have enough time to be able to juggle things together. So you realize that I think the way this thing is going right now, if this is going to scale up, I need somebody to be on ground. Because sometimes you are not in the office, maybe you have an office, and then you have to step out to go to do bank runs, and then you're out there doing bank runs, somebody says, hello, we're here now, oh sorry, I quickly stepped out, I'll be with you very soon. Oh, we can't wait, we want, how long will it take? I'll be there in about 40 minutes, oh no, we have just 10 minutes. You are beginning to realize, okay, someone is calling, we called the office, nobody's picking the phone, because you are beginning to realize, I think, I need to get this thing, push structure around this thing. So that's when you realize that you need a lot of other aspects, the balls are falling in different places, then it's time for you to get someone to be on ground. The second question then will be, how do I know what I should be employing people to come and do? So I advise people to do number one, get a utility staff. Let the first person you get just be someone that will be on ground. Open the door, close the door, pick the phone, answer calls, just so that when they come into your office, they are meeting somebody. So you can give it any name or any nomenclature. Oh, front desk assistant, customer service staff, all those are nomenclature. Just get someone on ground that can just be there like a dashboard. So the person is there. The next person that you will need after that, there will be someone that has to do with bookkeeping and accounting. Because in business, if your books are not in order, you're going to get into trouble. Get into trouble with taxes, you get into trouble with profit, because sometimes you are losing money and you think you are making money because you are not seeing the records. So turnover is vanity. The only sanity is profit. So that you are doing turnover does not mean you are making profit. You are no. So you just be making money, but all the money you are making, you think you are making money, you are not making money. At the end of the month, by the time you pay all your bills, you realize that you have gone into your credit card and you're like, how did it happen? It's a devourer. It's not a devourer, it's lack of order. So you need someone that will look into the books. You may not be an accountant, you may just start with just a bookkeeper, so that you have something to work with. Because even when you have external auditors and accountants, they need data to work with. So someone to just make sure that the books are in order, that they can then come and do your accounting for you. Then the next thing you need will then be maybe like an admin assistant or administrative office, HR, customer service, just to ensure that all the things that needs to be done are done professionally. Then you need a marketer, because you are the chief marketing officer. But then you now need someone that will now probably take care of marketing and developing the business and ensuring that you grow. So all these are things that then how do you pay them? Because the next question will be, what if I employ them? How am I going to be able to have money to pay them? The money will come. When you start employing people, you realize that sometimes you have to pay from your own pocket to take care of them, to ensure that they're there. But once the system is structured, with time, they are coming, we grow the business, and the money that will pay them will show up. So most of the time, as you employ them, the money shows up. As you employ them, the money shows up, and you're like, oh, I wish I had done this 2 years ago. No, if you have done it 2 years ago, you may not, but just don't allow what you will pay them to be the reason why you do not bring them on board. Because the possibilities of your business may remain a possibility and not a reality, just because you do that. Number 3 will be make the company strong on the inside. Make the company strong on the inside. I'm writing a book right now, and it's called Billions in Debt. That's the title of the book. I'm working on it. Billions in Debt, how I came out of a $53 million debt. The way, the lessons learned, and the way out. And some of the things I'm sharing in the book are things about how lack of proper system and structures can mess you up. How people can defraud you and all those stuff, because many times you are visionary, you are thinking of growing your business. Somebody else is coming in and all they are looking for is a loophole to defraud you. All that, that's what they're looking for, is loophole. And then I think a guy, because I've not said anything about that, massively for a while, because I've been trying to pay that debt off for a while. So last year, finally, we're able to pay off all the debt, and we can now say, okay, we're in a good place to move into another dimension. So last year, I was invited to a meeting where I spoke about it, and people were like, wow, you mean all this one we are hearing, you are in debt? I said, yeah, not me personally, but the business, but at least, yeah. And then early this year, I was in a major conference where they now had a panel, and then they began to ask questions, and then they went to that area, so I shared some things about the book that I was writing and all this stuff. So, and then I think just about 2 weeks ago, or last week or the other, someone picked that up, and then they put it on social media, and then they began to talk about stuff. I know anytime they put it on social media, me, I don't read comments. I don't even do so. So people started sending me message. So I've received, while I'm here now, at least like 6 messages from people that, is it true? We saw that you are in debt. What happened? And I'm like, yeah, it's true, but that's an old story. It's just out now that was 20, so it's a process of 2001 to 24. So I said, no, it's true, but it's not a new thing. In fact, I've been paying the debt for 10 years now. I will finish it too. I saw this online, I saw that online. And then somebody will now call me again and say, that people are saying it's not possible. And that don't they have system, don't they have structure with BVN, with NIN. We're now mentioning some things that have now, like things that just came out. That is a lie. All these pastors, they will just be lying. That. I just said, they are free to talk. This is a old story. It's not as if it's a new story, but all these things they are talking about did not exist in the days we did that. So they just went on and on. But the guy that was now talking to me said, so that means now with all these things, those things can happen. I said they still happen. So I was now sharing this story. I said all that to say this. I was now sharing this story of I'm a board chairman on a different company, and the deputy managing director of one of the company has just been let go before we had to arrest him because he was involved in fraud, massive fraud. Because in the system in Nigeria right now, when you open a bank account, corporate account, and you want to do online banking, there's what they call a token. So they will have to send the token to either your phone number or whatever. And then when it's a corporate account, you need 2 tokens. Someone has to authorize the transaction, and then somebody else has to now approve. So just to put checks and balances. But what if, so you can't be the one authorizing, and you're also the one, because you are building a global business. So what if the person that is supposed to be the next person to you is the one doing what this or not? So what had happened in this company is that the accountants will be the one to initiate the transaction, put everything on say and initiate it. Then this deputy managing director will be the one to authorize the transaction. But the 2 of them connect. The 2 of them connect together. And the business is such that when you bring a customer, there's a referral bonus of 10%. But there are people that come in, they are called walk-ins. The company is doing advert, they're doing all that. So people just walk in, people call. So what they have now done among themselves is every walk-in, they put it, so they now open a separate, they open a company, and that company now becomes a middle company. So anytime people come that is a walk-in, they will now put it under that company, that company is the one that referred the people. So that company was now collecting and they were now sharing it. So in what way will you be able to know that if not? So there's people so it's your job to keep looking. In my own case, oh my God, they showed me something, it was so bad. There was a day I was watching the TV, and then an advert came up, and in the advert there was a company that was talking about, fiber optic internet, and now unlimited internet. I'm like, and they mentioned the price. I'm like, wow. technology has increased like this. So immediately I called my gym. I said, have you? So I took the video. I said, check your WhatsApp. There's this message I'm seeing now. That this thing is cheaper. That we have to check what we are doing so that it can be cheaper. But the guy said, oh, no problem. So we called the accountant. By the time I got to I was even on my way to my wife was with me in the car. We were on the way to the office. And then the next thing, the guy now says, sir, that we have checked this something. Are you on your WhatsApp? Say, so we have checked it so that there is an issue. That when you come, say, what is the issue? And we're in the car. The phone was connected, so my wife was sitting down next to me. I said, what is the issue? She said, that I've called the company, I've contacted them, that advert you saw, that price you saw is the price that they said we have been paying. I said, but that's not what you've been paying. So in Nigeria, they were saying that we can pay 35,000 naira, and we were paying 120. I've been doing that for years. He said, no, that we called it, that they say in our account is 35,000. That's the only thing we have been paying. I said, but you have been paying 120 now. So what has been happening? So he said, that when you come, he said, yes, sir, this is your, is your, I said, what? My wife looked at me and I looked at, family member that is doing this one. You know, so it's just so beautiful. And so the guy, they started at 120, and then we called him, I'm sorry. So they started at 120. He was the one, liaising with the company, and then they now say, there's a new package, they have changed price. And so it's now 35, so no problem. So he just continued to collect the 120. I was now just making money. He did that for about 18 months before we found out. So by virtue of that, we have to change policy again. So what am I saying? Don't forget, it's your job to strengthen. So you can't blame them. You have to take the blame. To say, okay, I should have. So now in our company, every year we review everything we pay for. Every year. So by the end of the year, we check everything we pay for. So right now, we have every amount we pay for internet, the amount we pay for phone, the amount we pay for all these subscriptions, all these online subscriptions. Every year we want to review it to find out, is this still the same price? Is there a newer model? Is there a newer this? Or else you just discover that you are paying for something that is now cheaper. So internal policy, what is your procurement policy? What is your recruitment policy? What is your cash policy? So you have to have staff handbooks, you have to have all kinds of policy documents. That's your job. Because the head is the headquarters. And then you have to make sure that all these things are done. So your job is what? To make the company strong on this. And number 4, your job is to grow the company on the outside. To grow the company on the outside. That means you have to ensure that the company continues to grow. The company continues to grow. Now, you need to understand that not every business is scalable. Not every business can scale. And you need to sit down and do that research to find out this business I'm doing, is it a growing market? Is it a dwindling market? Because there are businesses today that are more like 24/7 dinosaurs. They are only going to be there for a while. In another 3 years, in another 5 years, they are not going to exist anymore. So for every business you do, you need to ask yourself, can a technology replace me? Can an app replace me? Is there a software that can replace me? Because once there are better technologies to do what you are doing, you're not going to exist anymore. Everybody is talking AI will take people's job. AI is coming to replace me. AI is not going to take nobody's job. That's not true. But those who know how to use AI will take the job from those who do not know how to use AI. The tool will not take the job, but those who know how to use the tool will take the job. And it's very, very important for us to understand that. Very, very key. So, what's your job? Now, there's what I consider to be the master key to unending growth when it comes to growing your business. And that is, you must continually bring new products to your existing customers. And then you must continually bring existing customers, new products to existing customers, and then existing products to new customers. So that has to continue. So that's your job, to see that, okay, all these customers that I have, they have bought this from me. How can I collect more money from them? What else can I produce? What else can I bring on board that will make them to pay me more money? So that's bringing new products to the customers that already exist. Well, how do you know that there is a customer that exists? That means you need to have proper database capturing. Data is very important. So data capturing, data mining, data processing, very important. So because you don't know the data. When COVID came, before COVID, I've been speaking to a lot of people about data. Oh, make sure you capture data. So I always tell people, make sure anything you can do to capture data. And then there are a lot of data protection laws that started coming, because I realized in our office in the UK then, you realize that you cannot use somebody's email, you can't use their phone number, there's so many laws. So I kept telling them in Nigeria, I said, come, these things will happen in the UK. You have to have a legal way of getting people's data where they willingly give you the data. So what I used to do then was to offer, free this, join our database and get this. So they willingly join it. So there are data to show that they willingly join. Because sometimes you send somebody and they will say, where did you get my email from? You send someone and they say, where did you get my number? And I'm like, why are these people so angry? As if what's their number? I say, so I started telling them my class, they come, this thing we are facing in London, it's only Nigeria. So if you don't have data. But when COVID finally came, a lot of people did not have data. So I tell people, even if you're a bike rider, you are a barbing salon, when people come, just find a way to capture their data. Because it's easier when you have people's data. You don't need to do massive publicity, just one broadcast, and then you're good. I've made money, we do a lot of stuff, and sometimes when I have a new product, right now, if I'm releasing, like the new book now, it's not for sale, so that's not a problem. But if I'm releasing a book that is for sale, I can guarantee you that before the book comes out, there are thousands of people that are waiting to buy, because they're already in my database. I have almost 500,000, like 480 thousand people in my database. And every month we send an email to 50,000 of them, because the more people, there's what we call the MailChimp, and so the more you have to be paying. So we are paying like thousands of dollars every month just to keep that database. So we cannot do 500,000. Let's so some people get in January, so we do 50, then before you get the game, we all go at least. So once you send out that email, 50,000 people are getting to know about it once. And that's, you can know, they will just start buying. And there are different data like that we have. There are things we want to do. So if I want to do something that's $100,000 and above, I have a group of people that, okay, these are the 100,000. If it's just $1,000, so we have different, so I know where to push it into. And before anybody else hears about it, just send them an email. This is a private, you are getting this because you're on this platform. We have not announced it yet. We're going to be announcing it in 90 days time. So if you plug in now, it's a pre-launch. And people plug in because we have the data. So if you don't have data, so you need to look into all those things. So bring new products to your existing customer. And then you already have products that are existing that nobody is buying. You need to keep publicizing your business, publicizing that product so they can bring new customers to come and buy the existing. These are your job as a business leader. Your staff will not think for you on how your business will grow. They are thinking of how you can pay them the salary at the end of the month or at the end of 2 weeks. Number 5, improve the business profit. That's your job. I hope you know that in business, you can be busy, as in busy. And at the end of the day, when you see what your business has brought you, are asking yourself, is this it? But there's a way you can do business that you will make so much profit with little. So someone can be in business and they do a turnover of $12 million, and to get that $12 million, they spend $9 million. Somebody else can be in business, they do a turnover of $12 million, and they spend only $3 million to get $12 million. So you have to keep thinking, this business, how can we increase the profit? So how do we reduce the production costs? How do we get what we are doing done cheaper? That's why people outsource stuff. That's why you see a lot of companies, they ship the job to India, they ship the job to China, because if they have to pay you, you will be asking for insurance, you are asking for pension, you are asking for medical, you are asking for, and the person in India does not need anything, he just needs to eat. He's not forming union, he's not fighting riots, he's not, there's no labor law, there's nobody that is fighting anybody, he's not calling in sick. So if you are sick, no payment. But yeah, you will not work, you want to you want to get money, say, oh, I'm not feeling good today. And then that's it. So you are disabled, and you are in. So you are disabled. So what's wrong with you? Say, my mental health. And they'll pay you. If you are at home watching Netflix, say you have mental health. They'll be waiting for you 6 months, you are still sick. You can't try that where I'm coming from. You can't. If your sickness does not go in a few days, your job is done. You will resume to nothing. So those are things that you need to begin to think, how do I increase the profit of this business? Because it's not every time you can increase price. Because sometimes your competitors are even selling cheaper than you. So the question there is, how do I increase the profit of this business? Then you start thinking, okay, let's do segmentation of market segmentation, let's do product differentials, let's do cost reduction, let's do repacking, so you start thinking, so you keep, that's how you grow a business, that's how you do your job. Because many times all these things we just assume, especially Christians, it's amazing. Oh my God, Christians, you just think that God is in control. God is in control, it is well. And then 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and the next is it's village people. Are you running the business? Are you doing what you need to do? Number 6, you need to have some people that are dedicated to ensuring that your business stay relevant and continues to grow. So I put down quality control and research and development. So you need to have a dedicated team to look into quality control. There are a lot of businesses that start out good, but as they begin to have customers, they start reducing the quality of what they have. And they don't know that people will know. There are products that people come up with, and then before you know it, the quality begins to change. They begin to reduce the size, they begin to reduce. I don't know if you've ever gone to a store to buy a pack of chips, and then you're like, did they reduce this chips or is it? And then by the time you open the bag, it's like half. And you're like, what happened? This thing used to be, so the package is still the same size, but the quantity inside has reduced. And you're like, what's happening here? Not many people notice, but some people do notice those things. Sometimes you buy a particular product, it's very good, and then by the time you start this thing is not as rich as it used to be. There's something has shifted. Now it's quality control. Sometimes those companies don't know that quality has changed because nobody is monitoring those things. Then research and development, you need to continue to do research to find out how else can I develop what I'm doing. Just today, I went to their office, and as we're digging, it was showing me a software. I quickly wrote it down because I'm like, okay, we might need it, because in my own office right now, we used to have logbooks that people would sign in and sign out. And right now, we have a biometric machine where you have to thumbprint to come in, and that's where you opens the door. So when you do that, the door opens. If you don't do that, you're not coming in. So if you're not a staff, the door will not open to you. But now I'm like, okay, this one looks as if he has more, because I was seeing that you will know where I say, okay, so once I get to the I'll go to check it now. You just keep thinking, how can we develop things? How can we do things better? How can we? Because people are looking for ways to do less and get more. So you have to also be looking for ways to get more and pay less. That's just the reality of it. So you keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking of how to ensure that you stay relevant. But when you say your business is valuable because you continue to offer value, and it's value that people can pay for. Then number 7, because of time, just to make sure that we move fast, invest in the future of your businesses. That's your responsibility, to invest in the future of your business. A lot of business people need to realize this. Please note what I'm about to say carefully. You have a business, and you are not working for anybody, so you are working for yourself. Now the business is an entity, you are an entity. But guess what? When you were working for somebody else, you had pension, you had medical, you had all those things. But now you are working for yourself. Do you have that? So you realize that sometimes you say you are an entrepreneur, but you don't even have any security of yourself. You just die for nothing. Because see, that's why when you are an entrepreneur and you want to do a lot of things, there's what we call key man risk in insurance. They know that, okay, this is the key personality. So they want to be sure that you, the key man, because once you are removed from that equation, they know that it will affect a lot of things. So they want to be sure that the risk is covered, that if you are not there, things will continue to move. So you as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, you need to invest for your own future. And most of the time we think that the business is my future. So I'm building the business, so let me keep investing in the business. That's good at a level, but what happens if the market rejects your business? What happens if technology rejects your business? What happens if the business goes belly up? What happens if your product is no more acceptable? What happens if also you now realize that everything you thought you have built is gone and there's nothing that secures you? That's one part of it. So the second part is that business itself. Have you invested for the future of that business? To ensure that this business will continue to grow, will continue to scale. So that's part of your responsibility. To ensure that you invest in the future of that business, so that the business, so you find out that a lot of, even a profitable business can go bankrupt without cash flow. Cash flow is the lifeblood of every business. So you want to sit down and think of, how can I ensure that this business continues to grow and the future of this business is secure? Because sometimes in business, you see the graph, the financial graph goes like that. It's not always a straight line. There are times that there will be customers, things will move. There are times that the market will be slow. But when the market is slow, bills are not slow. Because bills and taxes are sacrosanct. So therefore, if for the next 4 months you don't get customers, we're supposed to get customers. Wow. So we're having a discussion, if it's okay to share some of this. So they have offices, and before COVID, they had like 70% occupancy. And then COVID comes, and nobody's there, because everybody's now working from home. So question, if you have 70% occupancy, that means you have the regular income. If you are planned on that, it's okay, this one will take care of money, this one will take care of this, and then something goes wrong, and now that money is not coming in, how will you pay your bills? That means you must have something somewhere that takes care. So as a businessman, you have to think, if for any reason, this business, there's no customer for the next 6 months, can we pay our bills? Can we take care of the mortgage? Can we take care of everything? Because I don't know if you remember that even though there was COVID, people were expecting salaries. People were expecting salaries for a job they did not do. Because, yeah, I had a business, that we signed a lease. We had a 4-year lease on the, 6 years lease on the property. That we're doing a business in South Africa. We had a business that we're doing so, and COVID came, and they said, you have signed a lease, there's no COVID insurance, there's nothing like that. You have to pay. So for 8 months, everything was locked up, but the person which we are owing bank, you will pay. And so there are many things that came up as a result of COVID. Many things that came up. So you will pay. So you need to sit down and look into all those aspects. Because if you don't invest for the future of your business, you just wake up one day and realize that no, we are not in business. And then people say, what happened? And finally, be a good corporate citizen. Be a good corporate citizen. Why are you in business? I believe that one of the reasons why you should be in business is to offer value and to make impact. When offering value, making impact, and building a positive legacy is part of the reason why you are in business, then you will think of how to be a blessing to people. So be a good corporate citizen. Don't be a kingdom citizen in business and then you are trying to cut corners on taxes, cut corners on quality, cut corners on statutory obligation. You don't do that because you are not being a good representation of the kingdom. You are supposed to be a light. People are supposed to see you and see that, okay, this is the way things are supposed to be done. Because sometimes, you see, Integrity is who you are when no one is watching. And you have to keep doing the right thing when it is working, when it is not working, until it begins to work. Just keep doing the right thing, not because somebody is going to say, because see, whether you like it or not, when you begin to do negative things, you are developing a neural pathway for lack of integrity. You are going to what we call crookedness of character. And you will know the day that you go and be the one that will kill you and put you in trouble. We're just sharing, we're speaking to pastors this morning, and had an amazing time with some pastors. And then when we're sharing, I was sharing on how that there was a particular day on that road that he was passing through the road around 3 a.m. and there was nobody anywhere. And then the light was red and it stopped. 3 a.m. And then the light was green and it moved. Unknown to him, there was an undercover police car. They were just there inside the car. So when he now moved, they now flashed him. It's like, yeah. Wow. So if they flashed him. Now, 3 a.m., nobody is there, nobody will see me, let me just go. And then they will catch you and say you're a pastor. You know, so sometimes we don't know when we do things and how the implication of what we do. You understand? The implication of, I went to the bank in our country years ago, and when I was there, someone was now greeting me, oh, bless you, sir. So was now telling the other person, just like what happened today in your store. I got in there, the lady there greeted me and did that, and she was saying, do you know? He said, I don't know. He said, you don't even know anybody. And this is the greeting where I greet you. I said, oh, don't worry. So the lady was greeting me, and then the other colleague said, hi, how are you? And he said, I don't know. You don't know? He said, I don't know. So he said, it's pastor. He said, it's pastor. So the lady said, these pastors. I wish my father was a pastor. So I heard that, but I went on, I didn't say anything. So when I now came, I said, let me investigate. So I said, how are you doing? I said, I heard you say you wish your father is a pastor. I said, but even if your father, are you married, you can be a pastor. I was not trying to engage. I said, I said, why did you say that? By the time she told me the story, even me, I was ashamed. She said, are you pastor? You have money, you have church money. I said, well, that's not the way it works. He said, no. The account officer of Bishop, he was not talking. So apparently, they were doing, the bank was doing their shares, they were selling shares. And then this bishop comes to the bank, and she was the one out telling the bishop, Bishop, you have not bought shares, so you need to buy shares now, even for your children. He said, okay, that's true, give me form. So the bishop collected form for himself and for his 2 children and bought shares and told her to transfer the money from the ministry account to buy the shares for himself and the children. So she went